Namaste, dear friends from all over the world with different time zones. Good morning, good evening. Let's begin with a prayer. May I request you to close your eyes? Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya. Lead me from the unreal to the real. Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya. Lead me from darkness to light. Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Lead me from death to immortality. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Friends, it is in this spirit that many people throughout the world are regularly chanting these mantras. So, let me begin with a quote from Napoleon Hill. There are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of our thoughts. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The greatest discovery you will ever make is the potential of your mind. Do you take control of your life, or do you let circumstances determine how life turns out for you? Let me leave you with these thoughts before we dive deep to discover the power of mind. What is mind? Friends, everything I've written and practiced is the result of study, personal experience, and practicing ancient Indian wisdom. That's Indian philosophy. So friends, I took a premature retirement from Indian Navy after serving her for nearly a quarter century. Though I am a postgraduate of nautical science and strategic studies, I always had passion and penchant for energy healing. That means meditation, yoga, spirituality, and whatnot. I am also a history enthusiast and a published author of my own coffee table book. That's Rajputana Chronicles, Guns and Clothes. Friends, today I stand before you as mind transformation coach and corporate trainer. So, what is mind? Defining the concept is a surprisingly slippery task. Mind is the seat of consciousness, the essence of your being. Essence of your being. Without a mind, you cannot be considered meaningfully alive. Let me share how today's workshop on the miracle of your mind will be structured. Friends, we shall learn about what is the composition of our personality, that's to begin with. Then, how is Vedanta philosophy relevant in this context? What drives my body to act sane or insane? So what exactly and where precisely the mind is? Is there a difference between mind and brain? I'm sure all these questions must be bugging your mind for many years or some time. So this whole process will take about 60 minutes. If there are any questions related to what I'm talking about at that moment, I shall be happy to answer them. You may raise your hand, and we have lovely co-hosts today who will guide me to invite you to ask your question. However, if there are general questions, you will be given an opportunity to ask them at the end, right? So friends, Today, my co-host is Jayashri from Nairobi and Puran Chugani from Los Angeles. Okay. Wonderful people and have been attending my sessions for quite some time now. They will help me for better coordination. So thank you, Jayashri, thank you, Puran, for being with us together. We are all as a team, and thank you everyone for your gracious presence. So let's begin. The mission of every human being is to discover the Supreme Self. It requires the study of your constitution and analysis of these constituents and how each one of them react with external world. A human being is constituted of divine triangle. Is constituted of a divine triangle. So let's look at this. So can you all see the slide clearly? I hope so. Give me a thumbs up. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. It consists of a triangle you can see in the slide, right? Self, that is the Atman on top, with mind and body. Self is the spirit. Body, mind is the body, and mind are the matter. Yeah. So to begin with, for the purpose of this class and also universally accepted, these are the definition. Your self is your Atma, your spirit. Okay. And or that is your self, myself. Who are you? Self. And body and mind are the matter. Right. So whenever we refer next body and mind, they will be referred to as matter also. Right. So what is? Matter is inert. Inert, that means insentient, lifeless. But when in contact with the spirit, matter, when in contact with the spirit, can you see this triangle? It becomes a living being, a phenomenon akin to the electric bulb which is glowing. I'll give this example. The bulb has no light in itself, nor does electricity has light in itself. But when the bulb is in contact with the electricity, there is a brilliant expression of light. So also your matter, body and mind have no life themselves, nor does the self individual. But when the body and mind are in contact with self, there is a brilliant expression of life. I'm sure this concept is clear by now. Right. You will get to know. I know, I'm sure it must be in your mind, what is it in between? Okay, right. So human beings constitute a triangle. This triangle is mind, body, and spirit. Right, that's what we have been talking about. And Atman. Atman is the core of your personality. That is, this is the core of your personality. Okay. It makes the mind to feel, think, and contemplate. Body to perceive and act. So this Atman makes the mind to contemplate, to think, to feel, and body to act. Body is meant for acting, means take action. Your karmas are through this. However, the type of feeling and the thought perception and action will depend on one's inherent nature. Please listen to this carefully. The type of feeling and thought perception and your action, thought perception over here, and the action in this body in yellow, will depend on its inherent nature, that is vasanas. Vasanas are actually your inherent nature. Means this vasanas is something that you have acquired through your past karmas, through your past DNAs, passed down from parents to the down from ancestors. This, yeah, depending on this, these two will act and behave. So far, so good. So, Atma is uniform mass of pure consciousness. This is a pure consciousness. That means awareness, mindfulness, it is immaculate and unconditioned. Okay, this is always pure. Atma, self, soul is always pure. It is immaculate, unconditioned. It gets tainted due to mind and body functions. And mind and body functions also depend on this, your vasanas. Okay. Therefore, we say this is a pure Atma. That means by nature of a Atma is always pure. But it gets tainted because of vasanas, and accordingly the action taken by mind and body. So what happens is it creates your mental personality, mind, and your body creates your physical personality. We'll go deeper into each one of them. What happens in our mind personality, mental personality, and what happens in our physical personality. Okay, right. So far, so good. Any clarification required with regard to this slide or chart? Okay, fine, great. Let's see what is mind and the associated mental personality. Okay, right. Your Atma, when functioning through the emotional mind, Atman, when functioning through the emotional mind, creates the feeler. That is, what are feelers? Like joy and sorrow, love and hate, affection, passion, anger, and so on. These are the emotions and the feelers that is created. The feelers constitute your emotional personality. Below mental personality, you have two more subsections. Emotional personality, right? Then Atman, when functioning through rational mind, creates intellectual or spiritual personality. What do you understand by rational mind? Ability to discriminate, ability for judgment. Okay, these are all means the gross intellect. Gross intellect is when it distinguishes between pairs of opposite. That is heat and cold, joy, sorrow, right and wrong, relevant, irrelevant, things likewise. That is your gross intellect. Then we have subtle intellect. This is a gross intellect. Gross intellect is a thinker, intellectual personality. And subtle intellect, you will have contemplator. That means spiritual personality. Subtle intellect will mean to ability to distinguish between transcendental, means spiritual, and terrestrial. A terrestrial means worldly things. Ability to distinguish will cause you this is through subtle intellect. So basically, if you remember, we each one of us have a mental personality. Mental personality means somebody will be emotionally strong and somebody will be intellectually strong person. Emotionally strong person means they get charged up hyper very fast. If someone passes away, if there is a disappointment, if there is a failure, they will just throw their tantrums, go out of their mind. Whereas intellectual personality type of people will always be rational, will always be discriminated. They have their limitation. They will never say, oh, they all believe in God, but they will not say, look, the God only will help me. If there is a failure, it is the God's wish. The intellectual guy won't say. This is what the statement will be made by the emotional person. So that's the main difference. We have a mental personality, and these are the various factors that we take into account when we try to understand what is mental faculty, personality of ours. Then coming back to your physical personality. Now, this is something very clear to most of us. Physical personality, again, it's a part of your self, the Atman, physical personality. When your self means Atman, your soul or spirit is functioning through organs of perception, becomes a perceiver. When it functions through organs of perception, it becomes you are a perceiver. Okay. Now, what are the organs of perception? Eyes, ears, mouth, all your five senses. These are the organs of your perception. Okay. Then you are the perceiver, or you are an actor, means you will be acting, taking action. It is the organs of action. The organs of action all are through brain. Brain is something physical. A surgeon can cut open and show you the brain. Okay. Whereas in the first one, the mind, it's not visible. It's perceived, it's there. That's all. It's felt. I will explain to you the definition little later. But so organs of perception is one. Then the second is the organs of actions. These organs are like your brain, your mouth, your hands. You eat, you chew, hands, your feet, your body, whatever you can take action with. So these are the three things through which we said there is a soul here, self, and it has got two containers. One is mind, one is body. Mind is which will make you emotionally. Some people are emotionally strong, some people are intellectually strong. But those who are intellectually strong, they keep their emotions under control. In the subsequent slide, I will show you how it is. Then there are people with physical personality. Physical personality is developed through organs of perception or through the organs of action. What are the emotions and intellect according to Vedanta philosophy? Now, whatever I have said is as per the Vedanta philosophy, which has also been described in Bhagavad Gita in various sections. Okay. And I shall tell you what and how it has been described there. But generally, let's say when you study Vedanta, I am a student of Vedanta for last over 5 years. And I follow Swami Parthasarthi, who runs a Vedanta Academy near Lonavala. And their very senior teacher, Janki ji, is my guru and teacher. So the word Vedanta is composed of Veda, that means knowledge, as well as name for holy scriptures of Hinduism, that is Veda. Anta means the end. It means the end of Veda and might be said to represent essence of Vedic knowledge, supreme religious philosophy and wisdom. So philosophy of Vedanta is based on later Vedic texts, hymns, writings, of which Bhagavad Gita is most well known. In chapter 6, verse 6, Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna makes the following statement about the mind. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for the one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. Imagine how beautifully it's been said. So uncontrolled mind has potential to mess up a person's life due to these the characteristics of the mind, like various characteristics, like it's full of likes and dislikes. It has a tendency to slip into past and future. It generates endless desires, your mind. It develops attachments to objects and beings. We all know it, I love my child. That's fine. But I want my child to do so and so, I become so and so, is an attachment. When the boyfriend and girlfriend are courting and dating, they are in love with each other. They have no expectation that my girlfriend should be so and like this or like that, or my boyfriend should be like this or like that. There is a pure love. After marriage, I want my wife to be like this. And the wife says, I want my husband to be like this. It is a sense of possessiveness. And this possessiveness is called attachment to objects and beings. So that is how likes, dislikes, joy, sorrow, all these things come. That is how this has been explained in chapter 6, verse 6. So let's see how our mind runs. The mind comprises impulses, feelings, emotions, likes, dislikes. If we are not in control of mind, we will be controlled by the mind, having life full of endless stress. That's how the stress and depression comes into our life. When we are controlled by the mind. So many people are living their lives in the past or in the future and are often far away from the present time. They are either worried about the past or anxious about the future, while preoccupying themselves with their past mistakes and losses, or perhaps pondering about what will tomorrow bring and how will they survive in the future. They are missing to enjoy their present time. That's why you must have heard very popular mindfulness. That's what I do in our morning nurturing session. People learn the technique of how to be in the present. So whole life style is a hoax created to prepare us for something, but that something never comes. We spend our lives running after something, but we don't know what that something is. We go to the kindergarten, which prepares us for the school. We go to school, which prepares us for the high school. And high school prepares us for the university. And the university prepares us for what? To work. So what happens? Look at this cycle. So when we start working, we are looking for promotion. One day when the promotion comes or doesn't come, we dream about pension. How am I going to retire? When will we finally have enough money and free time for those things we always wanted to do? And when we are finally in pension, we are too sick and too old to enjoy life and feel frustrated with our lives. So friends, we are trying to make money and seeking higher social position. We suffer from desires and we are trying to satisfy them. Satisfying desires is impossible. Remember that. Attempting to satisfy desires is like trying to put out fire by feeding it with more wood. It will just burn stronger. While satisfying desires is impossible, not satisfying them makes us angry, desperate, frustrated, and stressed. So it's a catch-22 situation, but there is a way out. We come exhausted from work, we sit down and watch TV and brainwash ourselves with advertisements, commercials, which are telling us about that we are not good, that our clothes are not good enough, buy this, buy that, telling ourselves that we need a newer and smarter phones, better cars, better house to live in. So friends, we meet someone we think we love, but we know little about love. We get married, we grow attachment for our spouse, we get children and we grow attachments for them. We buy a house and we are attached to that house. See, what is this cycle? We fall in love and get married. But after that, we develop attachment for our spouses. When we have children, we develop attachment for our children. We buy a house, we develop attachment for our house. Out of attachment, we start being afraid of losing our dear objects and beings. That's what happens. When you love, you'll never be afraid of losing. But when you are attached, you will be afraid of losing. So love is not attachment. Love is understanding and sharing. It is feeling peace and harmony in the presence of our spouse. Love has nothing to do with falling in love. Although this falling in love is being sold to us through movies and literature as something we should strive for. Learning to love your children like nurse in the kindergarten loves them. She is taking care of them. She is teaching them things, feeding them, making sure they are safe. And when the time comes, the children grow up, they move on. She lets them go. She loves them without attachment. So friends, in short, living life while being under diktat of emotions with all its fault is slavery. While waiting and hoping for some better future to come, while constantly preparing ourselves for something we miss, enjoying life. Now, why am I telling you all this? This is because this is our emotional personality. How emotions and intellect run in our personality. Having explained this, now understand the concept. Emotion is being granted too much importance and attention. Countless therapies from psychoanalysis to all kinds of self-help practices are developed promising to improve our emotions. In fact, in the corporate world, there are special training programs to develop your emotional skills. Okay. Improve our emotions and raise our IQ. Teach us how to achieve our goals and satisfy our desires. While the best thing you can do about your emotions is learn how to ignore them. Learn how to ignore them. We are making great efforts to improve our emotions while totally ignoring our higher echelon of reason. The power of reasoning. That is called intellect, wisdom, और उसको बुद्धि या विवेक कहते हैं. One of the smartest people I knew was alcoholic. He had brilliant mind, extremely high IQ, very creative professional, and respected by his peers. Of course, he knew drinking alcohol in excess is not doing him any good, but he was drinking himself to death. Great mind, poor intellect. When to stop this? This is one of those typical cases. It happens in our day, people around us. While the emotion is set of impulses and feelings, intellect is thinking, reasoning, judging. Remember this. Emotion is a set of impulses and feelings, while intellect is thinking, reasoning, judging, discriminate. When intellect guides the mind, how they are related to mind, that's why I've been talking about, guides the mind, person is considered as wise. Intellect is not intelligence, as you can see from countless examples of intelligent people doing stupid things. Nourishing and cultivate your intellect and learn how to use it. Develop your intellect by observing the world and the people around. Develop your intellect by observing the world and people around. How? Never accept anything for granted. Learn to observe things and make your own conclusion. Don't blindly believe everything you are being told in school or college, in temples or churches. In Vedanta Sutra, it is written, I will quote, unquote. I'll quote, in cases of scripture conflicting with perception, Vedanta says, in cases of scripture conflicting with perception, scripture is not stronger. The true cannot be known through the untrue. So while Vedas represent holy texts revealed by supreme authority, Vedanta teaches that even the scripture should be accepted if we find it to be contrary to our perception and rational thinking, to our common sense. The question is, how do I develop intellect? It should have perhaps been developed when you were 7 to 10 years young, but it's never too late. So collecting data and acquiring knowledge will not develop intellect. Nothing wrong with being knowledgeable and well informed. Nothing wrong with being knowledgeable and well informed. Intelligence and knowledge provide you the means to make a living. Remember that. Intelligence and knowledge provides you a means to make a living, but it will not develop your intellect. To develop intellect, you need to observe, question, think, reason, and make judgments and conclusions yourself. Never accept things for granted. Accept only things that are logical and reasonable. This is what, as young parents or who have got young children, can share and pass it on to them. Allow them to question everything. Don't allow them to take things for granted. Encourage their questioning. In living your life, try to be objective. Try looking things from outside and above as impartial observer. And this is one of the main exercise we do in our daily nurturing session. Learn to observe things objectively. जीवन में हर वस्तु को साक्षी भाव से देखें और जरूरत हो तो ही उसमें घुसें. Like watching television today, full of violence, news about the violence, criminality, about the pandemic, all bad things that are happening. I'm not saying don't watch television. Do watch television objectively. Be informed, not involved. There is a difference. Be informed, not involved. That means you are watching the world objectively. Wherever it concerns you, go into depth, question everything. Don't take it for granted. If it's your profession, if it's you're running a house as a homemaker, for that aspect, go into the depth of it. Don't take anything for granted. Okay, so live your life objectively. And it's a very good sermon, but there are techniques how to live your life objectively. Maybe one of my student participants will perhaps explain to you how we do it. Meditation with your eyes open, but later on at the end. So friends, are you acting based on your likes or dislikes, desires? Learn to recognize chaotic impulses of the mind and stay above it. Refuse to obey it. Ignore the noise which is telling you that you should like everybody else. Do you really need the newest smartphones? Think about it. Is it really the need, or is it created by advertisement or the commercial, which are everything around you? So instead of setting up yourself only material goals, try setting up yourself an ideal of what you can be and try achieving it. Learn how to enjoy in life instead of running through it too fast to notice beauty around you. So these are few thoughts I wanted to share with you. If you like any of it, decided it makes sense to you, decide. I would recommend getting a book by Swami Parthasarthi ji or reading Swami Vivekananda's work online. Or maybe commentary on Bhagavad Gita also makes a great study. So now let's see what drives my body to act sane or insane. You have seen all this various situations which I've explained to you. When emotions overtake you, when the emotions are under control of your intellect, what happens? Can you see this a small graph or a picture. Now this picture, you can see there is a straight line, horizontal line, AOE, right? From O, we have at 45 degrees emotional, at then B is another 90 degrees, and again at more than one, it's 135, and this 180 degrees. Now, mathematically, if you see position A, where is your, this is the position A. Yeah, if you can see the arrow, right? When a person's intellect supervises and guides every impulse and emotion of his mind, that is the position A. Hence, his actions will be 100% discriminative and 0% impulsive. He is perfectly a sane person. Perfectly a sane means he is not guided by his impulses. In position B, this one, right? As the intellectual supervision and guidance falls to 75%, so would his discriminative actions. His discriminative actions will also reduce by 25%. But what will happen? His impulses will rise by 25%. So this rational makes him emotional person. Can you see this? Emotional person. Position C. Yeah. With further loss of intellectual application and ratio striking 50-50. He is 50% emotional and 50% intellectual. So he's a kind of a eccentric person. His impulses are sometimes under control, his impulses sometimes not under control. What happens, like in pandemic, many of us have lost their job, they have had disappointments or failures in achieving something, and many people have lost their near and dear ones also. Grief. So one thing is, like, what has happened is gone, but we cannot keep sinking into our emotions. This is where your mind will help. If you have developed care to develop your intellect, you will overcome disappointments, you will overcome failures, including you will overcome grief, chutke baja ke, in instant. Because your intellect is strong, it will help you out. But there are also people on the position D, you can see here, position D. With only 25% of the actions covered by this intellect and 75% taken over by mind. So intellect is only this much remaining, 25%. I mean, this is a mathematical way of explaining to you. Such people are known as hysterical. They are highly emotional. बस हाय तोबा, मर गया, अभी कुछ नहीं हो सकता, इस दुनिया का अंत आ गया है. That is the kind of emotional, hysterical person will be. We have seen so many people around us, or maybe even ourselves when we reflect back. You can see it yourself. And where you have zero intellect and totally emotional, you are the insane person. And when your impulses are in 100% control of your intellect, that means your vivek or buddhi के अंदर जब आपकी कंट्रोल में है, you are perfectly a sane person. So this analysis is from Swami Partha Sarthi's a book called Governing Business and Relationship. It's a wonderful book available online, and he gives a very beautiful analysis from Vedanta point of view. So, what is the difference between the mind and the brain? What is the difference between mind and the brain? Next, having understood what causes us to be sane or insane, let's now see what are the differences between mind and the brain. You might wonder at some point today what's going on in another person's mind. You may compliment someone's great mind or say they are out of their mind. You may even try to expand or free your own mind. This is how we talk about mind, But what is mind? Defining the concept of a surprisingly slippery task. So mind is the seat of your consciousness, the essence of your very much being, your life. Without mind, you cannot be considered to be a meaningfully alive. So exactly where and precisely what it is. Traditionally, friends, the scientists have tried to define the mind as a product of brain activity. Traditionally, the brain is the physical substance and the mind is the conscious product of those firing neurons. This is the scientific explanation I'm giving you. The brain is the physical substance and the mind is the conscious product of those firing neurons from the brain. So according to the classic argument, this is how it is. But growing evidence shows that mind goes far beyond physical working of our brain. No doubt the brain plays an incredibly important role, but our mind cannot be confined to what's inside our skull or even our body, according to a definition first put forward by Dan Siegel, a professor of psychiatry at University of California, Los Angeles, the School of Medicine, UCLA School of Medicine, and the author of recently published book, Mind. He has said this very beautifully in his A Journey to the Heart of Being Human. Right? Okay. So these are the few differences as defined by Dan Siegel, a professor of psychiatry at the School of Medicine, in his book, Journey to the Heart of Human Being. Brain. What is brain? It is a physical thing. Mind, it is a mental thing. It is made up of blood vessels and nerve cells. It is not made up of any cells and is hypothetical. Right? So it has a definite shape and structure. The mind does not have any definite shape or structure. The brain coordinates movements, feelings, and different functions of the body. Brain coordinates. But mind is referred to as a person's conscious, understanding, and thought process. As a person's conscious, understanding, and thought process. You can touch the brain, but you cannot touch the mind. Friends, the debate on difference between brain and mind has been going on since long time, since Aristotle. But our Indian philosophy, since the time of Patanjali to Buddha to Mahavira, they are very clear. Mind has a direct relationship with the cosmos. Okay. And it is, so mind is considered as a pure vibrating energy, whereas the brain is considered a physical manifestation of mind. Remember. So the above differences might have helped you in understanding how mind and brain are two different entities. Because what we study in our colleges, in our school of medicine, and in the Western philosophy, it is the brain. Mind is brain and brain is mind. No, it is not. It's something I would say, let's say, I will give some of the things which have been asked many times are like this. J. Krishnamurti is a famous person, J. Krishnamurti, who you all heard about, Yogacharya. In 2009, he said, J. Krishnamurti uses an analogy based on computers to explain the working of the mind. The mind is a virtual entity, one that reflects the working of neural network, neural network, the chemical and hormonal systems in our brain. So mind makes it work. Mind is like a software. That's how it described Krishnamurti. Mind is like a software of a computer, which needs to be programmed according to the needs of the user. Therefore, each human being acts differently and achieves different things in his life, depending on how and what they have programmed their mind to. It can only be programmed when mind is nourished daily by practice of meditation. And then learning the techniques to program your mind. Hence, we can empower our mind through meditation. As regular food and exercise is necessary to make your body strong, so meditation, being the food for mind, is necessary to enrich and nourish your mind. So the mind is like a software. You can't say it is so-and-so place and so. It's all over the computer, and any key you press on whatever happens, you get a result. It's like, I'll give you an example. Take a candle which is burning and put your hand on top of it. You go there, immediately you pull back because the software says there is a heat and it will hurt you. So the thing is, brain is an important organ in the human body, whereas the mind is not like that. Brain, which is the center of the nervous system, coordinates the movement, thoughts, and feelings. Mind refers to a person's understanding of things and also his conscious. Mind also refers to a person's thought process, not the brain. So, how does mind get corrupted? Someone asked me the other day. Like any other software, mind is also affected by virus and malware. These viruses are impurities of mind. According to Buddha, the impurities of mind lead to human sufferings. These impurities lead to human sufferings. And impurities come from where? From our past bad karmas, unfulfilled desires, past and present negative thoughts, and many things. But these few things, bad karmas of past, your unfulfilled desires, will encompass everything. So that's how the mind gets corrupted. So what do? We need to purify our mind. And mind purification is nothing but mindful meditation. So what is mind as per Indian psychology? Let's consider that. In layman's sense, mind is attributed to thoughts, or if we go by dictionary, It is that part of the person which makes it possible for him or her to think. Mind is attributed to thoughts, or if we go by the dictionary, it is that part of a person which makes it possible for him or her to think, feel emotions and understand things, or it is element of a person that enables them to be aware of the world and their experiences. So Lord Krishna has answered this very beautifully. Arjuna, no doubt the mind is very difficult to control. However, it can be controlled by constant practice and detachment. This is in chapter 6, verse 35. Without detachment to people and things, mind cannot be controlled. What is the nature of mind? According to Bhagavad Gita, here, listen to this. Mind, which in shlok, that is chapter 15, shlok 7 of Bhagavad Gita, is referred to as the sixth sense, is a person's faculty of thought and his ability to remember things. Sixth sense, that we say also intuitive sense. It's a person's faculty of thought and his ability to remember things. Spontaneous reaction. It is the seat of one's ideas, opinions, perceptions, emotions, memory, will to do or not to do. To sum up, whilst the brain is a physical mechanism and arrangement of matter that converts inputs to outputs in particular ways, whilst the brain is a physical mechanism and arrangement of matter that converts inputs to outputs, inputs from the brain to the outputs in form of action by your body organs, which we saw that chart in the beginning, the perceiver and the actor. Who has said this? Pinker, the famous scientist, in 2003. The manner in which its 100 billion neurons are deployed. The brain is the organ of the mind, just as the lungs are the organs of respiration. So brain is an organ of the mind, but mind itself is like a software, which is present in all over your body. So let's see how brain activity relates to our consciousness. So far, how is it going, friends? Before we proceed further, if you, Jayashri, Puran, if there are any questions anywhere in the chat box, I don't see any questions there. Or if anyone wants to say something, please let me know. We can raise the hands before we go to what are the levels of consciousness. It's all related to mind, how the mind runs, how the mind functions. So, Jana, is it so far so good? Sachin, how is it going? Harish Bhai, Sonia, Amrish, nice to see you. It looks like you made a sudden appearance now, huh? Yeah, not too late. Ami, Soumya, anyone? Omera?
Going steady. It's going
Yes.
steady, and it is mind-boggling, but it's so good.
Okay, so if there
Thank
are
you.
no questions, now let's look at this another, the brain activity relating to our consciousness. To be more successful in any endeavor, you need to use the full range of your mental faculties, such as creative and intuitive skills. Intuitive skills are spontaneous skills. Intuitive, it's like and intuitive skills is not part of the five senses which God has given to us. The sixth sense has to be developed by human beings. That's what the God has left this homework for you, each one of us. And intuitive sense can only be developed by mindful meditation. There's no other way. You can attend any number of lectures, be in the present, but learn how to be in the present is a technique and a skill to be practiced. Practice consistently and congruently. I know we have heard this word intuitive very often. I'll give you an example. Let's say you are driving on a highway. There is a car ahead of you, there is a car on your side, and suddenly a car on your side overtakes and turns to the right. The car on your left side overtakes you and crosses your path on the right side. You get angry, this, that, how it happened, why it happened. But if you are a meditative person, if you have an intuitive skill, the fact is he has done that. The other guy is at mistake. There's nothing you can do about it except shout and get angry. Okay, or take him to a police station. If not, hit him or whatever you. But if you have that intuitive sense, you would have realized the person driving on my left is not a steady person. He's not in his senses. When he's overtaking you, you will get that intuitive sense. He's going to make a mistake. So all that you need to do is be careful. Slow down, let him go. But if you are not one of those with the intuitive sense, both of you bang each other. So this is the importance of it. And how do we develop is obviously in a certain state of mind. So let us understand how brain activity relates to focus of mind. There are three levels of consciousness and 4 levels of brain activity. Outer focus, that is your conscious mind. Focus is on the physical world. Focus is on the physical world. That means seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, logical thinking. All these 5 senses, we are using it in our conscious mind. And that is called the level of consciousness. It's beta level. Beta level is just a name given by the community of scientists. It is most dominant and fast brain pattern found in everyday wakeful life. Beta level, wakeful life. And the frequency with which your brain is working is 13 cycles. It's academic. You don't have to be academic. If you know, it's good enough. That's all. Just know it objectively. There's no need to go deeper. Then comes inner focus, subconscious mind. Focus is inward towards our own physical body. Focus is towards our own physical body. That is thought, imagination, dream, intuition, meditation, creativity, everything. Own physical body, that means your thought, imagination, dream, intuition, meditation, creativity. That is your subconscious. And it is at 2 different levels, alpha level and theta level. What is alpha level? It is the brain pattern associated with relaxation, enhanced learning, dreaming, intuition. Frequency of the brain working is 8 to 12 cycles per second. Maybe in the next chart, you will be able to see it better. Right. Theta, it is the brain pattern associated with deep meditation. Frequency is 5 to 7 cycles, means you are getting calmer and calmer. then it's the unconscious mind. Unconscious mind, yeah, that is again at delta level. Unconscious mind is all basic function are automatic. No conscious awareness of any physical or mental activity. You are in a deep sleep. All functions are automatic. There is no physical or mental activity which is taking place. And that level is also called delta level. It has very slow brainwave activity and usually associated with deep sleep. Associated with the deep sleep. Friends, right? This is what I had to share with you. Therefore, empowering your mind is something very dear to my heart. I started practicing this mindful meditation, learning about mind when I was just about 15 years old. So it's been almost more than 50 years. Learning about mind, it has always fascinated me, huge impact on my life. And it has helped me tremendously in improving my self-awareness, health, spiritual well-being day after day. The spiritual well-being doesn't mean that you visit temple every day. No. Okay, spiritual well, you visit temple if you like to, but if you can manage without temple, that's still good, being a nice person. Right. And understanding self-awareness. Self-awareness is another great quality. If you know about the mind, so in our nurturing sessions, which we have every day since last 2 years, 6:30 in the morning, and we have quite a few people. I think one today present here is Shama Gandhi from LA again. She has been with me for more than a year. I've forgotten track count of it. Yes. And this helps you self-awareness. What is self-awareness? By nourishing your mind is your daily diet, which comes from mindful meditation. And mindful meditation gives you better self-awareness. I'll give you one example. In the recent months, you have seen quite a few people in their 40s, early 40s, mid 40s, late 40s have kicked the bucket all of a sudden. Like famous, a few months ago, famous singer, celebrity singer KK. He performed at Calcutta. After performing for 2 hours, he went back to his hotel room and he collapsed. That was the end. 2 years back, another friend of my son and daughter-in-law, he was a highly placed executive, I think 3 years back, highly placed executive. He went to gym while on the treadmill. 43-year-old senior executive CEO of a startup collapsed on the treadmill. And we keep hearing such examples. Does thing happen all of a sudden to you? No. This body has a software called mind. This software gives you ample warning. It is for us to catch those warnings. It is like you are on a lookout for a job. People say there are so many opportunities, you missed it because you didn't know how to grab those opportunities. Same way, the mind gives you signal. Buddy, there is something wrong with your body. Take care, visit a doctor or do something about it. You ignore it. We ignore it. This mindful awareness, be aware of your mind, will not prevent you from any problems that are coming because it's got a long history, maybe because of your past karmas or because of your past, or maybe because of genetics. There are so many reasons you will go through this, but you will be aware of it much before the tragedy falls on you. So friends, in closing, I can say that I've had such an honor to be with you all today. Is there anything I can leave this room? It will really make me a difference. Do share and you stick to what you have learned today. So about your attitudes, keep them great and wonderful. And your beliefs, let them open doors of opportunity. Your behavior, let them support you along the way in your life, because you know, I know, you can have it all better and better every time. Thank you so much. Now this is a question time. I'll be happy to respond to you, your questions, if you have any. And we have, right.
First of all, thank you very much for the invite. I am blessed to have learned the wisdom that you carry and an opportunity for all of us to bring 1, 2, 3 things that we picked up from today's session. Even if we did one, that is good enough for all of us. And I'm sure there is so much to learn from you. And the wisdom that you have shared is now global. I remember when we used to meet physically in Mumbai, India. It was a very short period, but yes, the wisdom was visible. And today I'm glad to witness that in front of this august worldwide people who love you, who care for you, and who look at you for bringing them more and more towards mindfulness. Yes. And to share with all of you today, I have been in the business of resetting minds. There was no washing machine to reset minds. So I've created that washing machine which does not look at clothing, but looks at minds. So I share this total reset or partial reset. And I share the process that you can, if you want, to become the person you were born to be. That realization is great, and happy to know each one of you personally and encourage you to build up, because you are special. You know why you're special? Each one of you has survived the pandemic. And each one of you should share today, I have greatness within me because I have something special within me. So with these words, thank you, Captain Pratap, and I'm honored to be present today amongst your tribe, your people. Thank you.
Thank you, Harishji. These words are very inspiring, and I'm sure they mean a lot. Of course, we have been old colleagues, and we have been known each other before pandemic, and it's great to have you once again.